Hey everyone, and welcome back to Crazy Connections, where we make dumb connections and dumber answers. I'm your guy BN, and today's connection is Commander Alloyd actually made to be like Paul Blart? I did my own research and saw the design of Alloyd in the server and found out there was the word security on the lower part of his torso. So I got the idea. What if Alloyd had the memories of a security guard, but one that was loyal to his own beliefs, protects people, and most importantly, is naive in his own way of justice sometimes? That's right, we're talking about Paul Blart Mall Cop. Yes, the one that took down 2 failed heists and got the Medal of Honor for Mall Cop. So how we're gonna get to make this, possible, how we're gonna make this all connect? We have to go from the beginning, the movie itself. We have to go to the movie itself to explain who Paul is. So Paul is a security guard who wants to protect people but couldn't become a cop since he failed the physical exam, not for his, his features, but more for the fact that he has hyperglycemia, which is badly represented in this movie. So don't take it as, full-hearted stuff. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. But with that, we get to see him go back to his life, his home life, as he lives with his mom and his daughter Maya, who came from his first wife that was searching for a green card and left him and Maya for another guy. Continuing with the main plot as we go to the next day, as he's going to his job as mall security for the West Orange Pavilion Mall, working his normal shift, but this time with a new recruit, Vec. Now Vec and him basically go through the normal routine, even stopping an old guy from speeding, which is crazy in my opinion. So, we continue on until Paul sees the main love interest, beautiful, graceful, until he runs into a prize van in the middle of the mall. So, he gets hurt, everything like that. A few moments later, as Paul was hitting up, or in the new generation's term, raising up, the new vendor worker Amy, until Stu, a cocky sales guy, tries to humiliate him for his weight, which is pretty screwed up in my opinion. We're gonna skip the rom-com elements of the movie for time's sake, but to sum it up, Paul goes to a business party at a bar and he gets to hang out with Amy and some other co-workers that we'll get to know down the line, until he gets drunk, embarrasses himself, and throws himself out a window. I'm not even joking, that's what happens in the movie. After realizing what happened and his mistakes for that day, he goes the next day, goes talk to Amy, and realizes the bar incident really did affect their relationship, and now he has to deal with the feeling that he messed up. But Amy said that he could still contact her via phone, so Paul goes to this phone booth worker named VJ, and VJ gives Paul his daughter's phone for the time being. This will be important later. And he also goes to see this hot sauce vendor, which I totally forgot his name, but he was this guy that was eating nachos with Paul, and that's how Paul got drunk in the first place. But basically he gives Paul some hot sauce, which isn't really a big deal, but will be important later down the line. We continue to film as Paul has to watch an arcade so the owner can cash in his checks. So Paul does his thing, watches the last of the customers, even the owner saying that he can go play on the arcade machines if he wanted to. But as he was watching the customers, he gets a call from VJ's daughter's phone, which was coming from her boyfriend, Pahud, and he was talking about his relationship with VJ's daughter. And we get to see a bit of parallels with each other as Paul is dealing with the relationship problems and Pahud is also dealing with relationship problems as well. So you can see the similarities of how they were both feeling about their own separate relationships. As Paul and Pahud's conversation ends, Paul then plays some arcade games to keep his mind off of stuff. But as he was doing that, a gang was taking over the mall, escorting people out with hostile ways, with firing guns and everything. Even some bystanders trying to get Paul's attention, but to no avail. So then there was only the gang that was taking over the mall and some workers that were still in the bank, as we see in the film. But at one point we get a huge reveal. Vic, the new hire, was actually the leader of this group and set up the whole heist by itself by getting Paul's advice and everything. As Paul got done playing Guitar Hero, he realized that everyone was gone, including the workers, and realized it was too early to close. So what's so weird about this? It was because none of the places were clean, so the workers have to clean for the next day. So he calls the cops, goes outside, but then sees Amy's car and knew right away that she was still in there, still in the building. So as the hero that he is, he goes back and stops these guys, but as he continues along the way, he figures out that they need these codes for credit cards and everything so they can go spend it on stuff. But as that's happening, the cops realize that the SWAT's coming in, so it's not their job anymore, it's these guys. And the main guy, the leader, is Paul Blart's old bully back in high school. I know this is a lot of stuff, but it's necessary to explain. As we continue, we see that Maya is in the building now, and including with this, she does not know what is happening, even though there's a bunch of cops everywhere, and literally the SWAT team was like, we're gonna surround this whole building top to bottom. But anyways, continuing, she was there to bring Paul some food and everything like that, because he's gonna be very busy tonight since it was Black Friday. But continuing on, now Paul has two reasons, because you want to know something? Mike gets captured during this stuff, so he realizes I have to take down all of these guys, everyone. So he does so in very comedic ways, but also too, I think it's funny when he falls in the ball pit and then he emerges out with the Segway. He's on the Segway and everything. So yeah, but continuing on to the point, as he gets closer to Vic and all the other guys surrounding the, you know, the bank and everything, he does a lot of crazy stuff. He explodes a fucking rainforest cafe and tricks Vic to think that he killed Blart and everything. And remember, beforehand, the guy, you know, the main guy, the bully, has been telling Paul that you're not a hero. So we continue on with this, and as Vic realizes he did not kill Paul and it was just a mannequin, he has to go back to the bank as he knew that Paul was gonna go rescue these guys. So that's what he does. As Vic gets to the hostage area, he saw that Paul was trying to get his friends and everyone out of there, but to no avail, because Paul couldn't get one of his friends up to the you know, roof and everything. So as that was happening, they all fall down, and Vic was like, yo, you kind of like not really cool, man. And Paul's like, oh, you know what, that's pretty true, but you know what else? He basically grabs a thing of hot sauce, somehow gets it into his eye. 100, like, this is like 1 out of 100 basically chance to get it into his eye. And with that, you would think like, oh yeah, he would just like rush him, you know, tackle him like he's an NFL football player. No, not at all. He just basically looks at Amy, then looks at Maya, and then literally Vic just rubs his eyes like, you could have just tackled me. It's like, I didn't just think about it. And Paul gives up the codes, and Amy and Maya, and you know, Amy and Maya are now hostages to Vic. But does this make Paul give up? No, not at all. He just gets the, you know, the prize minivan that he runs into, rams it through his store, and gets his bully to, you know, go with him and everything. As that's happening, Pahud gives Paul some help, because Paul basically calls Pahud and tells him, hey, I need help knowing where the phone is going. And you know, Pahud's like, oh, it's going to the airport and everything. A little side note, I forgot to bring this up, but Pahud has a tracker on the phone that, you know, VJ's daughter has, you know? So I think that's the craziest part about the movie, that this guy was basically stalking his daughter, you know, like literally VJ's daughter and everything. But besides that point, we continue on where Paul tries to do an Action Man move and jump onto the other car, but fails and biffs it onto the road itself, but then recovers, runs across this like wooden area to the airport itself. As he, you know, like running, getting back over there, he gets there on time before Vic can even escape. He takes down Vic by tackling him, but then also too, he uses the whole hyperglycemia thing to basically black out and then disarm Vic. And you would think this is like the end of the movie, you know, credits are going and everything. Nope, not at all. You know, the bully from earlier, yeah, no, that guy was actually working for Vic. And also too, Paul was like, in a, you know, last ditch effort, he destroys the phone, but he literally says, you know, the other crew members that you took down, yeah, no, we have their codes and everything, so you're kind of screwed here, buddy. But before he can even like get a chance to deal with the loose ends of all this stuff, he gets shot by Paul's boss. So not even Paul like you know, takes him down, it's his boss, which it ends with Paul getting the girl, living happily ever after and everything. So yeah, but where does this go afterwards? Then we get to the second movie, which is basically the same scene, just a few years later. Now he's divorced from Amy, even though they were married for a week. Then he loses his mom by his mom getting run over by a freaking milk truck. I'm not joking to you about this. And you know, a common single clinging dad because his daughter's growing up. And now he's going on a trip to Vegas, so Paul Blart, but in Vegas with other mall cops as well. And his daughter wants to go to UCLA. At least it's not NYU, because then she would have been into the likes like Vizzy Pop. I know, crazy fact. But yeah, that's where it ends, and he still gets the girl. Remember, he still gets a girl at the end. It's just out of like a random part of the movie. So this whole movie is just showing that Paul is depressed. That's all it is. So what does this have to do with Alloyd? So we have to look back into the streams and everything, and this is I'm not fully clear on what will it be, what makes all this connect. I'm just supposing these, so this is all series at the end of the day. Don't take my word for it, because again, I don't know, I'm not the creator. But I believe that he's gonna be like a leader type that cares for people, and having to convince people, like his cause is the best cause, and wanting to bring justice, which he seems fit, just like how we see with Paul and his characteristic traits. So I'm probably hoping we're gonna see Alloyd struggle like how Paul did, minus the Family Guy factor. As Alloyd, so far, I don't really know his lore. That's the voice actors and DME to explain that. But I'm hoping, I'm thinking it would be cool if we get something like that, where Alloyd has like this thing like Paul, it has the hero's journey just like Paul. I'm hoping not, but I'm hoping we can see that we see in the two movies, and how Paul somehow makes the security bot how he is, how Alloyd has the characteristics of Paul. But yeah, that's my connections. But I want to say also too, it's up to TME at the end of the day what he does to Alloyd's character development and everything, but that's my connection of how it all connects up together. So yeah, checkmate TME, checkmate. Also, before I go, there's been a lot of series that he's like Optimus Prime. I think that's fucking stupid. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video. I just want to say real quick that the reason why my voice is different is because I'm kind of getting tired of doing the voice. It really hurts my throat a lot. Also too, with these recordings, I kind of screw up a lot of stuff when it comes to that voice. So yeah, also too, go check out TME and everything like that. But also too, I'll probably link down below some of the voice actors YouTube channel pages, mostly probably Bionabots thing, as he is the voice for Alloyd. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe, and also too, please do go check out TME's channel. He's a big supporter of this stuff, even too I think he found the last video funny. But yeah, go check him out. I'll also link his coffee page down below. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.